And speaking of the bridging of the gap between USA and Europe, we also had some interesting news with regard to one of the teams that we've been tracking pretty closely as part of our UEFA Women's Champions League coverage. Barcelona head coach. We had some movement there. What do we need to know about this?
Yeah, huge news, man. This is a game changer, it feels like, for the league. So Barcelona's manager, as you mentioned, Jonatan Giráldez, confirmed on December 18th that this would be his final season coaching the La Liga and UEFA Women's Champions League juggernaut Barcelona. And the early speculation after that ended up being confirmed today, the day we are recording this, January 9th, 2024, that he will be filling the coaching vacancy at the NWSL club, the Washington Spirit. My first thought immediately went to, I saw the Washington Spirit play OL Reign, who actually announced their name change today. They will be Seattle Reign FC, like a few hours before this recording. I digress. I saw Washington Spirit come to Seattle, play the Reign, and I looked at that roster and was like, this team should be a lot better because that team features Trinity Rodman, Ashley Hatch, Ashley Sanchez, and Andy Sullivan. So I feel like Heraldez is walking into a pretty good situation. But here's my question to you. And I'm going to channel my fellow Kent State University alumnus, the reputable NBA reporter Brian Windhurst. I'm going to put both fingers up there. Why would he do that?
Windy. Good question. I mean, I think there are a lot of factors here. Like, it's obviously like the cultural leap, the change of like football culture, going from the European style to the American style game, and, kind of challenging himself to truly see if his, success can translate over here. Reminds me of Esther's comments about competing in the NWSL a while back, where she said, and I quote, "Every game is like playing Barcelona." Speaking to, the kind of step up in competition that maybe Heraldez can expect. Then, like you said, man, you look at that roster, they're loaded. They have also got Sam Staub, who was a first team all league this year, Aubrey Kingsbury in goal, who's unbelievable as well.
Yep.
So lots of talent. So you can kind of see why this was interesting to him. But then there's also the small footnote about the massive fucking bag that's been rumored. CBS Sports reported last week that, and this is directly from the article, Heraldez said that he only opted to leave because of an offer he received elsewhere that was superior to the one his current employer proposed. A Spanish news outlet Relevo also reported the amount offered would quintuple his current salary at Barcelona.
That's incredible.
That's not just a massive bag. That's 5 massive fucking bags. Go get your money, Jonatan. To me, though, the most interesting part of the story is what happens to the juggernaut currently dominating Liga F and the UEFA Women's Champions League, Barcelona. Do they experience a little aftershock? Do they not miss a beat? Something we're going to keep a close eye on with match days 5 and 6 just a couple of weeks away. And the knockout stage right around the corner. It's going to be hard to imagine this one not being I don't know, a little bit of distraction potential here.
I think so. I mean, he talked pretty openly about finishing out the year with Barcelona. He wants to see it through, but, it's hard to imagine. Like, hey, everybody, I'm leaving. I'm going to America. I'm going to this other league. Could they possibly not miss a beat? That's very much on the board with that squad that they have.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm going to America in a couple months. But right now, let's everybody let's give it, we're here together and we're one unit and all yada yada. You just never really know. It's easy to kind of downplay the impact a manager has, but you do see it. You do see when a manager's like kind of lost the locker room, shit happens. But then you also see a team like Spain in the World Cup where they're like, fuck this guy. They still go out and mow everybody like
Right.
It's nothing. So we'll just have to see.
For sure. And to the NWSL part of this is the exact kind of thing that the team owners in this league need to do. You get that big media rights deal, you have to look at swiping top coaching talent. And you could probably argue that based on the team's success, that Heraldez is near the top of that list in European football. So that's a coup to make that signing. I'm always very interested in this. And I've thought about it since I was a young kid, like playing FIFA and trying to watch as much European football as I could. But one of the biggest knocks on football and culture in the USA is that there aren't a lot of opportunities for American-born coaches to ever become elite managers. So you have to go out and buy them, whether that's a function of them not getting opportunities abroad or not having a lot of players over there who can't kind of transition into coaching positions for different squads around the world. But I know in a past episode, I think it was in the Emma Hayes episode, we talked about a past rumor that was kind of floating around the U.S. men's team, that they were shying away from foreign-born managers because of the sour taste that was left by Jurgen Klinsmann, which I think is idiotic at best, if not just jingoistic at its worst. And so I
Yeah.
think it is great to see another indicator that women's football in America isn't interested in following suit on that, especially when you consider this along with the news of U.S. women's national team hiring Emma Hayes. It seems pretty clear in the culture of women's football in America. They're like, I want the best coach. And if the best managers are out there in other countries, we got the money to pay for them. So we're just going to buy them.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if like the NWSL powers that be also kind of maybe got together and were like, let's be a little smart and a little bit long-term strategic about this. Mm-hmm. And it's so wild that the growth of the men's game here in the US is so different than the growth of the women's game. It's interesting because each league also has their own culture. So you can almost imagine a decade from now, the NWSL just having a completely different model than the MLS. You know, for whatever reason, I think the MLS is a little bit more, not quite calcified, but they do have a foundation that now goes back a few decades of like just kind of how they've been doing business. You look at the champs this year, managed by Juan Carlos Amoros, you know, who led them to the title, Spanish dude from Madrid, started his managerial career at Tottenham on the women's side. This might be a trend that carries forward, and it's kind of smart on the part of the league. Like, if we're really about having the best league, it's not about having the most American league that we can, you know, like, it's like, no, we need to stay ahead, you know, because we're at very real risk of losing market share. When you think about the growth of the women's game, that's essentially what it's about right now. It's a little bit of an arms race.
Yeah, great point. I mean, and I would be remiss. I mean, Laura Harvey right here in Seattle. I mean, coached Arsenal in the WSL years ago. So that feels like a pretty clear difference between the men's and women's game here. And I feel like you kind of see it bearing out in the level of skill in our women's league compared to other women's leagues versus the level of skill in our men's league compared to other men's leagues.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. Anything else you want to hit before you get out of here?
I'm interested to see, and we can keep tabs on it, but, you know, the rumors have been floating around that the OL group is looking to sell my beloved Reign. And they announced today, you know, they're changing the name. They're dropping the OL. Yeah. They're going to be Seattle Reign FC. Little breadcrumbs there. So I don't know if that means the sale's imminent or not. But I will say I appreciate their service because they've helped make us a really good club. Who knew Olympique Lyonnais knows a lot about football? So I appreciate what they've been able to bring to Seattle up to this point.
There you go. Hope you're able to crack the rest of that case.
Hell yeah,
break some
I'm
news
on
here on the ITC. All right, Scoop.
That's right.
I think we did it. This has been another episode of Into the Channel, and Into the News version of Into the Channel, which hopefully you appreciated. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to our YouTube audience, who's been doing an incredible job of kind of keeping us up to speed with little bits of news and little bits of nuggets that maybe we had a hard time finding or just flat out didn't know about. So we're getting a lot of help from the Into the Channel community, which we absolutely appreciate. Please keep it coming. Don't be shy about dropping us comments, letting us know what we got wrong or what we missed or what we overlooked. You know, Mr. Grand Angle calls this a learning podcast, full cosign for me. So please definitely keep it coming. And with that said, subscribe or follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen. Ratings and reviews and comments always appreciate it. At ITC_pod on X, at Into the Channel pod on Threads. Big thank you to my co-host, Mr. Grand Angle, for breaking news, giving us the nuggets we need to stay on top of our games here at the ITC.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily breaking news, but, you know, just for the folks out there, again, like Dino said, we appreciate you. Thank you for making Into the Channel your number one draft pick, or maybe your number 2 or number 3 draft pick. I don't know. In terms of women's footballing podcast, I appreciate you guys.